Something broke this season. Not in one moment, not at one tournament. Across the entire 2026 PGA Tour calendar, something gave way. And once it started, it didn't stop. The Masters handed out a code of conduct warning for the first time in living memory. Broadcast microphones caught things on air that had no business being there. Officials from Augusta, the PGA of America, the R&A, and the USGA were pulled into emergency collaborative meetings to build a rulebook that professional golf had never needed before. Until now. 5 elite players, multiple major events, 1 season. Honestly, I've never seen a window like this in professional golf, and I think what's coming out of these official meetings tells you everything about how serious this actually is. Do you think the tour has lost control? Drop it below. If this is the kind of story you follow closely, subscribe. We cover what actually happens behind the scenes of this tour. Now let's get into what triggered all of it. Every golf fan has watched a club get slammed. Every fan has heard a frustrated word after a bad bounce. That is not what this is. What made 2026 different wasn't the frustration. Frustration has always existed at this level. What made it different was the scale, the frequency, and where it happened. These incidents didn't occur at small field events on forgotten Sundays. They happened at the Masters, at signature events, on the biggest stages the sport has, with cameras on every angle and microphones close enough to catch a whisper. Here is the specific detail that reframes everything. The PGA Tour has never had a formal player code of conduct, not until officials were forced to create one this season. That single fact tells you more about how far things went than any highlight clip could. The LIV era restructured everything. Schedules tightened, eligibility rules grew more complicated. Signature event access created a visible 2-tier system inside the same tour, and major preparation got squeezed between weeks that cannot be skipped. The pressure on these players is unlike anything this generation has faced before. Something had to give. The first time it gave, it happened at Augusta, in front of the whole world, and the player involved is someone nobody expected. April 12th, 26. Final round of the Masters. The most controlled, disciplined environment in professional golf. A place where players carry themselves with visible respect for what that tournament represents. Sergio Garcia destroyed all of it. After his tee shot found a bunker, something inside him crossed a line. He slammed his driver into the ground hard enough to bend the shaft on impact. Then, in the moment that spread everywhere within hours, he grabbed the dangling club head with his bare hand and ripped it clean off. Standing on the Augusta fairway during the final round, in front of thousands, Garcia kept going. He walked over to Jon Rahm's bag, picked it up, and started carrying it down the fairway, while Rahm's caddy was still dealing with a bunker. The scene looked less like professional golf and more like a man who had completely disconnected from where he was. Augusta issued a code of conduct warning immediately, the first in living memory at that tournament. Garcia addressed it afterward. He said he wasn't super proud of what happened. Then he added something that deserves close attention. He said the frustration had been building inside him for a long time before that moment finally broke through. A long time. Keep that phrase in mind. Garcia's meltdown was the spark. 3 days earlier, something happened at the same tournament that most people are still underreacting to. MacIntyre slammed his club into the Augusta fairway twice on separate holes. Cameras caught him swearing openly. Then on the 15th, after his ball found the water, he raised his middle finger toward the crowd. At Augusta National, during the Masters, he carded a 9 on that hole. By the end of the round, a Masters official had quietly walked him through the new code of conduct policy. 2 players warned at the same major, both caught on camera in ways that will follow them for years. 2 incidents at Augusta felt like a crisis. What happened at the next event made everything significantly more complicated. Max Homa watched Garcia's meltdown and spoke publicly before the RBC Heritage. He said breaking clubs makes professionals look very, very spoiled. He said players at this level should be held to a higher standard. He said accountability matters. Sunday at Harbour Town told a different story entirely. After a frustrating approach on the 15th hole, Homa threw his club, a full tomahawk throw, several yards through the air, straight into a palm tree. The player who publicly criticized Garcia 1 week earlier was now on camera doing the exact thing he condemned. Homa posted about it afterward. He acknowledged it was a bad look, said he wasn't proud, and wrote that he was looking forward to bettering himself. The comments told you everything about how fans received that. Because there is something uniquely cutting about a public call-out followed immediately by a public collapse. Some fans argued it proved his original point, that the pressure is so intense it breaks even the players who know better. That debate points directly at what nobody had answered yet. Why is this happening to players at this level, in this volume, in this short a window? 3 incidents, 3 different players. None of them prepared anyone for what came next, because the next one involved the last person on tour anyone would have predicted. Scottie Scheffler is the world #1. Beyond the ranking, he carries a specific reputation. Calm in the most pressurized moments, composed when tournaments are on the line, mentally steady in a way other elite players quietly study. June 4th, 2026, the Memorial Tournament. Scheffler's tee shot found the water. Broadcast microphones caught everything that followed, and nothing about it matched the player golf fans thought they knew. Scheffler turned to caddy Ted Scott and said he didn't know what to do. He said he couldn't hear a word Scott was saying. He said he felt like that was a good shot, and now the ball was in the water. Then he kept going. He told Scott directly that he didn't think Scott understood how frustrating that felt. He said clearly, and on mic, that Scott cannot get the wind wrong. This was not a quiet exchange between a player and his caddy. This was raw, unfiltered collapse from the most composed player on the planet, broadcast to everyone watching. Here is what makes it land harder. The Memorial was not the first time. Earlier in the season at the Miami Championship, Scheffler had already screamed at Scott during a final round. The Memorial was the second documented incident between them this season. When the most mentally stable player in the world loses it twice in one season, that is no longer a bad day. That is a signal. What was unfolding on the courses was alarming enough. What was simultaneously happening in the galleries added something nobody could ignore. Fans at the ropes took direct hits from golf balls across multiple events. Nick Taylor's drive struck a fan on the elbow at Trump National Doral. Scheffler's tee shot caught a fan square in the head at the American Express in January. Rahm's approach at the 2025 PGA Championship hit a fan in the head at Quail Hollow. Players losing control on the course, fans getting hurt in the stands. The governing bodies had run out of room to wait. Augusta formally enforced a player code of conduct for the first time in 2026. Warning first, 2-shot penalty second, disqualification third. The PGA Championship adopted the same framework. The R&A and USGA joined the effort. Terry Hay of the PGA of America confirmed that multiple meetings between all major governing bodies produced this collaborative response. One detail that matters: the PGA Tour itself has not yet ratified the policy. It still needs to pass through the Tour's own governance process, meaning the rulebook is being written in real time while the incidents keep happening. Which brings everything back to what Garcia said. His frustration had been building for a long time. Garcia didn't snap because of one bunker shot. MacIntyre didn't raise his middle finger because of one bad bounce. Homa didn't throw that club because of one missed approach. Scheffler didn't scream at his caddy twice because of wind misreads. These are symptoms. Documented, undeniable symptoms of a tour structure compressing its best players until something gives, and then being surprised when it does. The code of conduct is a response. Whether it addresses anything close to the actual problem is a question officials have not answered yet. Is a 3-strike warning system enough? Or are officials fixing the wrong thing entirely? Tell me exactly where you stand in the comments. If this gave you something real to think about, subscribe. This is the kind of conversation we have every week.